Are live. It is Seed Talk, stuff to make your seeds walk. And if you know us, Wayman, Earls, and Logic God Man also represent Throwback, Speak on the TV.
The original.
I can very much so take off the Seed Talk and put on their Speak on the TV because that was the that's what birthed Seed Talk. You know what I mean? But one of my favorite people to have a conversation with and to build with, one of the most intelligent people I know. I mean, he's just, you know, a brilliant guy. I love the way he articulates, but I also love the way we argue. I love the way we debate. It's always love. Two Pisces men, you know what I'm saying? One day apart, Pisceans and whatnot. So we always, you know, including that that water in our conversation. Before we get started, you know, I'm always gonna solicit, you know, some donations. You can cash at me at $ Logic God Man, Venmo at Logic God Man. You know, slavery's over, so we like to get paid for our time. And when this airs, I'm going to put Wayman Earls Cash App and his Venmo in the comments if he feels comfortable doing so. You know, because you know his intelligence and his time, you know, you need to pay attention to. So we're gonna be talking about some stuff today. Wayman and I, you know, we of course once again we disagree on this one.
Okay. Yep. Let's go. Come on.
We got a variety of topics
to
talk about, but the main thing we're gonna talk about tonight is Meg the Stallion and Janelle Monáe's performance at the Essence Festival. And India Irie has some choice words about that. I thought it was just really interesting, the things that, you know, she had to say about their performance. And right now, a lot of people are starting to say it was respectability politics. A lot of people are also trying to say that just really dragging her and whatnot. So basically saying, you know, that she really didn't like the fact that they're out there showing off their bodies and whatnot. And of course, when this is very common these days, when people are trying to make a point, when they're trying to win an argument and get you on their side, they bring up the children. And they say, you know, this is not cool to be doing this in front of children. I've never been to Essence Fest. I don't know if it's a family-friendly, children-friendly event. But all that being said, let me just go ahead and read what she said. This issue is what is context. Humanity does everything, but does everything belong on a stage? She said in a stage. No. Is everything for kids? No. Is everything for everybody? No. So when we as a culture make something like this mainstream, it shows a lack of discretion and discernment. To those in the comments who laugh at anyone who wants these things for our culture, you certainly have that right. Just as many people have the right to want our mainstream international export out music to show us in a respectful light. I'd like to go on the record saying this won't age well, and that's my issue. I love, capital letters, I love Janelle and Meg the way I love us all, and I don't like this moment. Don't bother debating me. LOL, IDC, I don't care, and I do this. For 25 years, I've done this. So read, ponder, or don't. Peace. So what do you think, Wayman? Go ahead. Oh, you're over there looking like you're in witness protection, you know?
No, I'm just like, man, no, witness protection. Get out of here. Here's where I have a issue. Like you, I do have an issue with her dragging the whole thing about the kids. I'm with you in the position that if you don't like it or you think something's distasteful, just say that then. Say that. You're not feeling it. You feel it misrepresents us? Okay, fine. I can go with that. But quit this whole thing with dragging the kids into it. I think that's old. I think that's tired. I think it's a hackneyed excuse. I think we need to lose that and just be honest about where we stand in terms of, the position of, is this good for the culture? Is it not? I do agree with her about this thing being about the export, about this export being our music. It has been misrepresented. It has been used against us. There's just no denying that. We have to make sure that when we do put this stuff out there, that we are putting it out there in a respectful light. The other problem I do have with her statement, and let me look it up so I'll make sure that it's accurate here. Yeah, I don't think it'll age well, but for her to simply just cut off any opportunity for dialogue. Don't bother debating me. You put this out here. You put this out here on Front Street, sister. I'm sorry. With all respect to you, Sister India, you blew it the second you put this out there, and then you're going to try to retract and say, "Oh, don't debate me. I don't want to hear." Like, I'm sorry. You can't sit up here and make this type of statement and then not expect that smoke. You should be open to discuss the platform. I think once we start discussing this platform and discussing the reasons why we either have a problem with it or don't have a problem with it, I think we'll come closer to some type of consensus on it.
Well, let's get into it, man, because let's get into it, because what I like to do is I like to dangle the low-hanging fruit, which is usually pop culture current events, the clickbait. You know what I'm saying? I like to dangle that in front of us. And then I like to bring it back full circle and put things into context with our community. I want to hear it from you. What did you think about them performing? Because let me educate people that might not know. She's talking about Janelle on stage revealing her right breast. Now, I was told, and when I saw, she had a pasty covering up her nipple and her areola. I'm really upset that she had something covering it up. But anyways, listen. And then
why?
and then I mean, I'm like, this whole thing for me, because then Meg was, she was doing her regular twerking, what she's known to do, and I'm gonna get to that too. This whole thing screams, India Irie, please stop blocking my view. Like, move out of the way. Like, I'm trying to see something real quick. You know what I'm saying? But
word. That's her take.
Come on, man. See, this is the thing that I have a problem with too. Once people become pro-black, become woke, then all of a sudden we can't like sex. We can't have a pleasure principle. And that just gets on my nerves. But what did you think? Do you think that we should be up there twerking, showing off, our right nipple? How do you feel about that whole display of us showing off our bodies?
Well, I just took a look at that particular video, and I'm like, okay, where's Justin Timberlake when you need him? That was the first thing. Maybe it would have went over better. Who knows? But
because even Janet showed off the whole nipple and the areola, man.
No, it had a star on it. It had a star on it.
I thought a little bit was revealed, but go ahead.
I'm a Janet addict, and I can honestly say, under close inspection, that had a star over it.
All right.
But anyway, point being is this, and I do agree with you that sometimes we take the whole being and I can't stand that term woke because it's been co-opted, but anyway,
right.
But as far as becoming conscious, I do know, and I agree with you, with a lot of black people become conscious, all of a sudden we can't enjoy sex anymore. But I think it's not so much that we can't enjoy sex or can't enjoy the type of material, but there's a certain level in which we have to carry ourselves. There's a certain level of dignity in which we need to present ourselves. And I want to be very careful when I say this, because we do have a tendency to take it way too far, to the point where all of a sudden we should be wearing be men and women of the cloth and carrying crosses and doing it like them, and then secretly molesting children. That's the next step. So right. So I want to make sure that we understand that we're still human beings, but at the same time, there is a standard. And I think we need to respect and recognize that standard. Doesn't mean that we can't enjoy it at all. No, but it does mean that show some discretion. And I don't think there's anything wrong with showing discretion. And I also have a very big issue with the fact that anytime that you want to make sure that we have some type of check and balance, because I don't think India, other than the couple of points that I made about some of her statement, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with what she's saying. But at the same time, it seems like, to use the old phrase, when you're negative, you're positive. And when you're positive, you're called a hater.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be very careful of that. Anytime we try to act as a check and balance and check ourselves to make sure that we're doing right by our culture, by our people, by ourselves as Black men, as Black women, we tend to have this thing where somebody jumps in, oh, you're hating. Let them do this stuff, whether it's, Megan Thee Stallion, whether it's Lizzo, whether it's this. It's like, why can't it just be that what Megan and Janelle did was in bad taste? Why does it have to be about hate? Why can't it be just like, okay, maybe Essence, the place where we used to have, Lena Horne on the cover of the magazine. We used to have dignified articles and whatnot. Now we're twerking. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
When did that become? When did making sure that we kept a check and balance to not go too far become hate?
Mm-hmm. Well, why is it? My question is to you is why would that be considered bad taste? What Janelle Monáe did and what Irie is referring to with Megan Thee Stallion showing off, basically twerking. Why is that considered bad taste? That's my question.
Okay. When we think of something like the Essence Fest, and admittedly, I've never been either, but when I think Essence, I tend to think dignity. I tend to think intelligence. I tend to think, raw, raw intellectual discussion. I don't think, and maybe that's just me being an old fuddy-duddy, being old school, but I don't think twerking. I don't think, Megan Thee Stallion dropping it hard. I mean, the only thing missing was She-Hulk. And maybe that's just my view as somebody born in 1970 who saw, female political figures, who saw female educational figures, who saw, Black female economists on the cover discussing whatever it was the issue of the day from a Black female perspective.
See, I have a problem with that.
Why?
I have a problem with that because all of a sudden for a Black woman to develop and maintain her intelligence and to be taken seriously as an intellectual, as pro-Black, she has to keep her clothes on, but Black men don't have to. And then, we have Tupac, who was referred in many circles collectively as a revolutionary, was busy running around in his videos around town, having sex with multiple women, taking off his clothes, had photo shoots when he was butt naked in a bathtub, covered in jewelry, but he was still regarded as a revolutionary.
By who?
But listen.
No, I mean, no disrespect, but I have to interject here. By who? Who the hell thought Tupac was a revolutionary?
Are you serious right now?
I'm sorry. No, I'm dead serious. I never regarded Tupac as a revolutionary.
Overwhelmingly, Tupac is referred to as a revolutionary, a community activist. He's considered to make conscious music. Yes, he was a Gemini, and his twins were twinning. His twins were definitely twinning. 1 minute he's doing Dear Mama, next minute he's being accused of rape. We understand that. Those twins were twinning. But for the most part, Tupac was known to be a revolutionary. He was he had the Thug Life campaign. He
That's
had
revolutionary. Thug Life is revolutionary.
Let me finish, Wayman. he had changed the actual term of the word nigga and changed it into an acronym meaning never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. He was creating, I think it was called One Nation or One Thug Nation, where he was getting all rappers from different backgrounds and hip hop genres together to do an album. A lot of, and not to mention his history, his gene pool is of Black Panther, you know what I'm saying, quality and cloth. He was born in prison. His mom was a political prisoner. His godmother was a Sada, you know what I'm saying? So he comes from a very revolutionary cloth. So yes, a lot of people, I would argue that him and Bob Marley could be the most influential revolutionary artist in the history of planet Earth. But he was allowed to run around half naked, have sex with multiple women, you know, and, you know, just allowed for his twins to be twinning. But we do not afford Black women.
Kill that we stuff. Hold up. Kill that we stuff. We
is collectively. Collectively, we don't do that. And I would even go further to say we need to, this is why people say there's respectability politics. Because here's the deal. I was on Facebook today and someone said, well, I know that, you know, Martin Luther King and I knew that Malcolm X wore suits. And I'm like, okay, they were regarded as revolutionaries in their own, you know what I'm saying, mind. They were known as community activists and builders and healers. But I also know when we're talking about Martin Luther King, he was wearing a suit in public, but he was taking that bad boy off to commit infidelity with white women. Mm-hmm. So it really didn't matter what he was wearing in the public, what he was doing, which had an impact on his capacity to build community. Yeah, man, it don't add up. And so it's like we give Black women so much smoke, and that's a part of our trauma.
I think that I'm just going to be real. I think that is a cover. I think that's a lot of fugazi in order to get past the fact that we're not holding ourselves as Black people accountable. Yes, Martin Luther King was an adulterer. Mm-hmm. He was running around here beating it up. He was doing all of that. Yes, we know that. And if you want to take it on Malcolm's side, we know what Malcolm was before he became Minister Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what he was doing.
Right.
But I think there's I think number one, there's a large difference between Malcolm and Martin and Tupac. I think there's a wide gap. Super wide gap, number one. Number two.
Wait. Number two, hold on to that. And I will say real quick. We have to keep in mind, let's keep in mind that Tupac was never afforded the opportunity to be a Malcolm or a Martin. He was still in his Detroit, kind of like in his Detroit Red, you know, stage a little bit. He died at 25, bro. If you're going to lower the age to 25 and say Tupac had the opportunity to do what Malcolm X did.
4 words. Whose fault was that?
The murderer. The people who killed him.
A wise man once said, best way to avoid punch, no be there.
See, why would you disagree? This is where we're going to disagree because I think he was marked for death and assassination the day he was born, because that's what the conspiracy. That's what the conspiracy is, to destroy the Black man and to stop the rise of the Black Messiah, which was in government documents with the COINTELPRO with J. Edgar Hoover. So no, if Tupac came out the womb and was dressed like Desmond Tutu, he was faced with the same outcome because
that's where
Black cloth.
if I may, if that's the case and you know this, then doesn't it behoove you to go ahead and start making some changes with regards to how you're living your life so that you
No.
can live to be able to tell that message
No.
that our people so desperately need? That's where you have to say, okay, maybe I need to do something a little different than putting myself out there as a damn target. Because that's all you did, brother. No, not you, Tupac. That's all the brother did was make himself a target.
That's one way to look at it. But another way to look at it, in which I think Tupac took this stance, because he said it many times. He didn't say it how I'm about to say it, but this is a characteristic, Wayman, of post-traumatic slave disorder, and it's also a symptom and a byproduct of being depressed. And what I'm about to say is, what you said is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, these cats are going to kill me anyway. Let me have as much sex as possible. Let me do smoke as much weed as possible. Let me drink. Let me because being an alcoholic and a drug abuser and being highly promiscuous are all the telltale signs of a person who suffers from PTSD, depression, bipolarism, and a host of other things that a person suffers from being highly traumatized.
As somebody who battled PTSD and depression, I want to be very careful with what I'm about to say, because I'm not going to make light of that. And I would be an idiot to sit here and say, given Tupac's upbringing and his entire origin story, that he did not suffer from those things. But we have to start. What are you laughing at? What you laughing at, brother?
He was literally running around, not literally running around. He was literally telling people that he was going to die.
See, and that fatalist, martyrdom is something we have to get away from. And this was, I remember in 1993, I was having a discussion with my cousin. I was on leave. And I was discussing this with her, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. And I remember I was making a similar point in defense of Tupac, in defense of a lot of these rappers out here, some of whom were regarded as revolutionaries. And my cousin broke it down as like, we have to get out of this insane martyrdom, this fatalist mentality. Malcolm had a fatalist mentality after he came back from France.
And did it matter? They still killed him.
And they still killed him. What did we as a community do to protect him? What did Tupac do as an individual to protect himself? If you're really regarding yourself as a revolutionary, then we have to really, and we're really about trying to make these changes in our community, especially with regards to taking Pan-Africanism beyond the domestic shores of America and building it to an African world community. If that's what you're about, if you're truly about that type of revolution, then you got to have a different mindset, or you have to change your mindset. And you can't keep putting yourself in these situations where you can be popped.
I just disagree with that. I think I can meet you.
Let me finish. Let me finish real quick. I hear what you're saying, but we have to develop almost a militaristic mindset, where, and even if you know you're going to get popped, then at least set the foundation for someone else or a group of people to continue your work. Bury the man, continue the plan.
I would argue Tupac did that.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Did he? What's the?
I definitely think that he planted a seed for people to do better than him. Yes, and not make the same mistakes as him. He had a whole crew, bro. He had the Outlaws. He had a whole group of people that were supposed to come after him to finish his work. That's the reason why they wanted to kill him. Now, look, one of the things that we can meet at the crossroads and we share an intersection with is I think that Tupac, only thing that Tupac did was he moved the date forward. Probably about 2 or 3 years. The same with Malcolm. But it was already destined. Neither one of those men were going to make it to 40 or 50, pardon self. Because I think Malcolm, how old was Malcolm when he passed?
Malcolm was let's see. Yep, he was born in 25. He was killed right before his 40th birthday.
Yeah,
literally before his.
Neither one of them were meant to make it birthday. 50. But I think that Malcolm did something similar to what Tupac did, and he knew he was pushing the day for it. And he was saying the same thing that Pac said. You know what I'm saying? He was saying they're going to kill me. And he said, you know what? They're going to kill me. Let me go ahead and let me tell you what he's been doing with these little girls.
Okay, so don't you think that there's a far cry difference between setting up the OAAU and setting up the Muslim Mosque Incorporated and going out here and bathing yourself in gold chains and sex?
I think there's a difference in that.
And drugs and alcohol.
I think there's a difference, but it's the same determined outcome. If you're going to kill me, then this is what I got to say. Before I go, I got something to say. He didn't have to say that stuff about Elijah. And look, and here's the deal, bro. Before he said that stuff, Wayman, he was writing letters to Elijah asking for his forgiveness, asking to get back.
I know. He wants to
get back into the NOI, because I want to bring us back to Meg Thee Stallion and Janelle and But this is one thing I look at a lot, and I strive to look at it because Malcolm's my guy, man. I love Malcolm, but I strive.
Same here, brother. Same here, brother.
I strive to look at it with an objective lens. The fact that he really tried to get back into good graces, and when he saw that it wasn't possible, he said, "You know what? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what they're doing. Elijah's sleeping with little girls. He's impregnated a couple." And then
just for clarification, let's be real. The only reason he opened his mouth up was because they kept coming after him. Now, yes, he was writing letters and he saw that it wasn't nowhere, but it wasn't a situation where he just decided, oh, well, this guy won't accept me, so I'm just going to go ahead and slander him. No. Elijah and the nation kept coming after Malcolm.
Okay, that's fine. However it happened.
So he said, okay, you want the smoke. Let's do it.
Well, let me tell you what else he did too. Because I seen the videos, bro. I seen at least one video. He was telling how the Nation of Islam brokers deals with white supremacy groups, the KKK, so they can travel in and out and navigate, use their privilege in the South.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was never supposed to talk about that stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Never. See, people don't understand. We got to get back to this thing, because the more and more we talk about it, you're gonna see that Malcolm and Tupac, they were doing a lot of the same stuff, bro. They were, bro. They knew they were gonna die there, so they were like, man, forget it, F it. They were fearless. People forget that. Wait. Hold on. People forget that Malcolm, and this is a whole different episode. People forget that Malcolm took an oath.
I know.
Of Islam.
I'm well aware.
The penalty is death.
I'm well aware.
My word is bond, and I should give my life if my word shall fail.
I'm familiar with all of it, brother. Trust me.
Because we study the same lesson.
You and I, figuratively speaking, have spilled the same blood in the same mud. Mm-hmm. We come across the same information. Hell, I got a lot of it from you.
Yeah.
So, but let's keep it real. Doing what he was doing in terms of exposing the nation versus running around here bathing yourself in sex, gold chains, alcohol, and drugs because you have this fatalist mentality. Martyrdom. I'm not feeling it, bro. I'm not feeling it.
No, I totally get it.
It sounds like an excuse for not doing better. It sounds like an excuse for not doing better.
Well,
Because again, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were saying
our people respond to trauma differently, Wayman. I just don't think it's fair. They both knew they was going to die. Had they had some kind of inclination to know that they were working with a lifespan that wasn't already predetermined. If they knew that they were working with they weren't working with an expiration that I think both of those men would have made different decisions. And COINTELPRO knew that. And the hip hop police knew that. See, this is what a lot of people don't want to really like look at, like categorically and itemize it. He was born in prison. Tupac was born in prison. 2 off-duty police officers already tried to kill him. He shot at them, got off there. Then he got into the whole thing with Haitian Jack. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but he got into the whole thing with Haitian Jack. You know what I'm saying? When he got accused of rape. But then I think before that he got shot. He got a shot at the recording studio. They were busy trying to kill this man and assassinate him. He knew it was inevitable. So I just don't think it's fair if he thinking it's inevitable. Yeah, man, let me go date Madonna. Let me go sleep with as many porn stars as possible. Let me run around and get my chest tattooed, and let me run around half naked. Let me spit on reporters.
And see, this is why I have a big issue with all of this, because somebody who comes from the background that he has, understanding, the Black Panther Party connection, understanding the organization connection in terms of, with these types of groups, then the mindset should be, okay, the clock is ticking. I got to do as much as I can to have an impact on the struggle. And to me, these are things you should know. These are things you should know. You should know they're coming after you. Okay, I don't have anywhere as illustrious a background as the late Tupac Shakur. Not even close. And yet I believe these fools are trying to kill me, are trying to break me. And I'm sorry. My mindset is, okay, I have to do as much as I can to make sure I survive. Or if at least I don't survive, then those who survive after me have the tools that we need to win this thing. Because we have to understand who and what we're up against. Yeah, these are people with the infrastructure to wipe us out like this if we don't get it together. We failed to learn that in Tulsa. We failed to learn that in Rosewood. And if we keep making these ridiculous decisions, and now we're bringing it back to Megan Thee Stallion and all this other stuff, if we keep making these decisions,
what decisions are you talking about, dude? I mean, bro, you're acting like revealing your body and twerking and showing off your nipple and your areola is going to make them want to kill you less. If you don't do that,
make you want to kill them less, but we have to establish some things that are going to put us in a position to have the allies that we need, because we don't have the infrastructure here, and it's going to be very difficult to build the infrastructure here. If we have an import as impactful as our music, and it is it's maybe the most impactful import that Black people have ever had within the last 50 freaking years, is our music. Our ability to reach people through our music. So we need to probably package this in a way that other Black people are going to be able to get on board.
Well, okay, I see that. I understand what you're saying. So you're basically saying act and dress a certain way to develop and maintain allies, right? That's what you're
not only to develop and maintain allies, but to reestablish culture and custom. Because when you look at African cultures across the continent, it's not that the sexuality of our people doesn't have its place. It does have its place, but there's a way to do things. And this is why the study of African people, African history, African culture, and custom is so important. Because we run around here doing it like that, where we have no structure and it's simply a hypersexualized tool to make money. Is anybody really about our culture and about our history and about African customs going to take us seriously?
But listen. I understand what you're saying, but let me give you another way to look at it. Okay. I'm going to push back a little bit. It's okay. Because, and you might disagree by the way I'm going to put this. Those twerking, showing off your body are fundraising strategies in a crass consumer capitalist economy. When you know
there's that.
Okay. When you know the palate of your audience, you know that they are not going to purchase so much of, you know what I'm saying, something that's covered up, that is like very churchy and stuffy.
No, because we're not in this country. I get it, because in this country we are nowhere near a monolith.
Right. So it's like, not only are we not going to make a lot of money, you know what I'm saying, doing it that way, we're also going to cut off a large portion of our demographic who are not educated. The majority of our people aren't educated like that. And it's no disrespect. It's like, but it's just saying we're working on two different frequencies. We're on two different levels. There is no better level. There is no higher or lower level. We're just on two different levels. Let me give you an example. People, and we talked about this earlier, people like to recognize and celebrate places like Rosewood, Black Wall Street. My example is the Negro Leagues. Let me tell you something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The Negro Leagues don't become the Negro Leagues without syndicated crime. They don't. Black gangsters were the future capitalists. They were profiting from sex work, prostitution, bootlegging was huge.
I know.
The cabarets, burlesque, nightclubs. There was a relationship that Robert Church out of Memphis, Tennessee had with Ida B. Wells. Robert Church was a hustler. Robert Church survived an assassination attempt. Now, you know that back in the day, Black business owners were huge targets back in the day. Robert Church was shot in the face and he survived. He survived. And the reason why he was shot and he was they tried to kill him is because he had all kinds of businesses. He had nightclubs. He had probably black and tans, cabarets, all that, bootlegging. He was doing all kinds of stuff. Now, Ida B. Wells was on the other side. She was documenting the lynchings. There was a time, I think she got stuck in like the West Coast somewhere, and she needed a train ticket to get back, and she needed something to fund her movement to document the lynchings. She went to Robert Church because he had the money. Where'd he get the money? He made money off of frolicking, bro. He made money off of women twerking. He made money off of men pimping. He made money off of bootlegging alcohol. So she came to him and said, I'm gonna need you to, give some money towards this. And you know what? He did. They started a relationship. And then she said, can I give you some feedback, man? This stuff, she was like you. This stuff is not good for our community. It's not. He met her halfway. He said, I won't do it during the day. I'll do it at night. And then came the whole it's one of the foundations and the roots of the Black nightclub, you know what I'm saying, culture and scene. Like, we're not going to do that during the day. We'll do it at night.
I know. That's how the whole all the after hour spots.
Right. So I really applaud their complementary duality because they couldn't have done it without each other. They really couldn't. And that's what we got to understand. Like what you said, it's like we're not a monolith. So when I asked the question of how much of our revolution and liberation includes revealing our bodies, the men and the women, we got to chill with these double standards too. Like we always on the women using their bodies to fundraise.
If I may,
we're not as hard on the men. We're not as hard on the men.
See, I don't know about we again. Kill all that we stuff because I've always been as hard on the men.
Collectively, we don't do it. There's a thing called massage
I will give you that. I will give you that. Collectively,
don't hold
the men as accountable as the women. I agree with you. Okay, I agree. I'll go with you on that. Here's the thing. And I understand every door that had to be forced open by a black man or a black woman committing some sort of vice in order to force a door open for somebody to do it in order they could do it the right way. That's a sacrifice. It's like chess. It's a pawn sacrificing itself so that a knight,
a bishop,
or a rook, or a bishop can make their move, or a queen, or a king can make their move. Trust me, that's why there's an old saying that the pawns always go first. And I get the sacrifices that have to be made. But I also look at it this way. As somebody who has sacrificed a few to save the many more times than I care to admit, eventually the few becomes the many. The ends don't always justify the means. And if we can't figure out a way to move forward, and I'm not saying that the vice is has become unnecessary. That'd be foolish. And I'm also not saying that we have not been guilty of not holding the men as a collective, not holding the men as accountable as the women. But if we don't figure out a way to find some sort of balance, because we have to ask ourselves, at what point does the cost become too high?
You know what's really interesting about India Irie's comments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal. He's already admitted that it is a product. It's a consumer product in this crass consumer capitalist economy. She said it's an export. Okay, so you've already admitted and bought in that we're exporting this as a product.
There is that.
So you've already admitted that this is something that we are a part of it. Our bodies are included. We objectify ourselves. Now, here's the deal. I don't have a problem with us objectifying ourselves as long as we are in control and management of it.
Good point. I was just about to make the point. You beat me to it. Very, very good. Good point.
So when you're talking about all that, you're halfway there. So, and this is a woman that I remember back in the day. So when you do stuff like that, I start digging up. I start digging up.
I'm not my hair. I knew you were going there.
Exactly.
I knew you was gonna go there.
That's one of my points. So she's telling black women, teaching them like, "Hey, you're not your hair. This man, I'm not my twerk. I'm not my nipple. I'm not my pasty. I'm not my areola." But here's another thing. When they asked her a few years ago, who's on your bucket list to collaborate with? You know what she said?
What'd she say?
Eminem. Now, here's my thing.
Bruh.
But wait. Here's my thing. My thing is this. I say that to say this. Mm-hmm. If you're seeing sisters doing stuff that you don't agree with, and you're thinking, oh man, it's a bad look, and what you say, it was in bad taste, I'm all good for that opinion. I love it because they put themselves on that stage to be, you know what I'm saying, to be commented on.
To be critiqued. Absolutely.
Exactly. Absolutely. Why not pass up that moment to be divisive in front of the oppressor? Come to them in private, like they said the infamous meeting happened between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and say, let's do something together. Let's do a song together. Let's do a podcast. Let's talk about how the revolution can be won through our sexuality and revealing our bodies or not revealing our bodies.
It brings up a great story, and we talked about this before. If for those of you watching this cast who remember Chappelle's show in his second season, Paul Mooney had did a skit called Negro Damas, and the question came up: why do white people love Wayne Brady so much? And he said, and I quote, white people love Wayne Brady because he makes Brian Gumbel look like Malcolm X. Wayne didn't take that too well. And I understand why, because as someone who loves to bounce between using our language, our version of the English language, and the proper version of the English language, and sometimes gets lambasted because of that. So, I get it. And I get why Wayne Brady took that a little bit personally. But I also remember Dave Chappelle reaching out and saying, hey, that was Mooney. I love your stuff. I respect what you do. This, that, and the third, and made amends to the point where they did that in private, per your suggestion. Mm-hmm. And what did they do? They ended up collaborating. That's how we got the famous Wayne Brady sketch that I love and I thought was genius.
I thought it was really good, man. I thought it was really good. I thought that was dope, man.
So I guess in support of you, and I gotta concede this one. I gotta concede it. You made an amazing case. There's a way for us, the conscious and the twerking, to collaborate, but to do it behind closed doors, air out our differences behind closed doors in the closet, and then come out and present a united front. And if you don't mind my paraphrasing Malcolm real quick, in Bang Dung in 1954, there was a great conference held, the Bang Dung Conference, and it had people of color from all over the world, and some of them were Muslim, some were Christian, some were Buddhist, some were atheist. Despite their religious differences, they came together. Some were capitalists, some were communists, some were socialists. Despite their political and economic differences, they came together. And all of them were black, brown, red, or yellow. And they were able to get together and say, hey, the same people, the English and the Portuguese and the French who have been messing with you have been messing with me over here. Oh, well, the Spaniards and the Germans, the same people messing with you have been messing with me over here. So there have been examples of people from different walks of life and different cultures or different versions of that culture coming together. So I have to concede that.
Yeah, appreciate that. You know what is always interesting about us, man?
What's that?
We're both Pan-Africanists, proud Pan-Africans. We're both, what I'm saying, as much as possible. And I use the term lightly because we really don't have, access to really implement. But I would consider us Black nationalists.
I would agree.
But we're definitely Pan-African. We definitely assign ourselves, and we definitely relate to African people all over the world, or Black people all over the world who have struggled under colonial rule. And I always find it interesting when we as Pan-Africans talking about the diaspora, the African diaspora, and how we can use it. Oh, no, we don't even need, Africans don't even like us, and this don't even like us. And even if we talk about, it never stops, even when we're in the United States. Oh, those people from the South, they don't like us, or people from the West Coast, they don't like us, or people from the East Coast don't like us. Yep. Oh, man, what about Crips? What about Bloods? What about BGDs? What about the guys? What about, hey, man, I always say to these people, there was something called the Council of Nicaea, where the Pope got together.
Woo! And why don't you go there?
he looked at all his white brothers, because they wasn't allowing white sisters up in there. And they said, let's just split up this Bible This is going to be included. This is not going to be included. We're going to change the color of this person. We're going to change the color of this person. We're going to create, we're going to accept this creation story. This is going to be myth. This is going to be a little bit of fact in here. This is that.
For
right?
those of you who are not hip to what he's talking about, please research the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, look that up.
325 AD.
Let's go ahead and Google it. We're dropping breadcrumbs. And they were like, that's a good idea. Because what the Pope did, he started assigning different countries, different things. I want you to go colonize this in the name of Jesus Christ. I want you to colonize this in the name of Jesus Christ. I want you to use the King James Version, of what happened.
And we have to remember, no matter what and what he's basically saying is, no matter what these guys' differences are, they're able to collaborate when it comes to securing their power.
But they weren't done yet. They weren't done yet. Like they wanted to make sure that it was locked in. It was locked on control. So they had to rewrite their history again. And here comes the Berlin Conference.
Oh, the Berlin Conference of 1884-85. This
exactly.
is how you have the borders that you have in Africa in present day.
They said, oh, come on in, the French. Come on in, the British. Come on in, the Dutch. Come on in, the Irish. Come on. We're going to split up Africa. You get this, you get this, you get this, you get that, you get that. And they're like, thank you, thank you. And then they proceeded to split up the Caribbean. Then they proceeded to split up South America, Central America. My whole point is these people were beefing. White people don't get along.
No,
they don't.
Please.
The only time white people get along is when it's time to make a decision
exactly
to oppress us.
And to secure, and really, to forget oppress us, secure power and ensure survival. The continuation of the species.
Thank
it's
you.
All this time. And the only thing I would say is it would be really nice if African people everywhere decided to practice the essential selfishness of survival. And so if that means, I guess so, I'm conceding this one. If that means we got to collaborate with some twerkers.
You're stupid. But that's why I wear t-shirts like
no, but real talk though, real talk. If that's what it takes. Because we got to win this thing. It's whether or not we can take some losses here and there. We got to win this thing.
Well, this is the reason. Like my whole outfit today is deliberate. This is why I wear the Anyame symbol out of the Ndinkra, out of West Africa, out of Ghana. This represents was it 1954 where Ghana got their independence. Now, when I say they got their independence, we use that word lightly.
Yep.
Because it's a lot of pageantry, because when you go to Ghana, they still speak in English. That's not the original language. The original language probably like Twi or something. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them are Christians. A lot of them are Christians. They're not studying Yoruba anymore, Ifa or anything like that. So I wear this because that represents those indigenous people. I wear the tribe of the Kanaka Maoli, which represents the indigenous people of Hawaii when I went there. You know what I'm saying? But my whole thing is I want to unite and pay homage and recognize oppressed, indigenous, melanated people all over the world that try to and have attempted to fight colonialism. And when you go over into Hawaii, if you go back further enough, they look like me and you, bro.
You're preaching to the choir. You said nothing slick to a can of oil. The thing about it is that we got to remember is that the other thing that the late great Kwame Nkrumah was talking about after Ghana's independence, because he realized it wasn't complete. What did he say? Ghana won't be free until the rest of Africa is free. This is what the independence explosion was meant to do, was meant to accomplish. And this is what the intelligence agencies of the United States, Great Britain, and the European colonial powers had to destroy in order to keep the example of Ghana from shining through as brightly as possible.
Right. Let me ask you the question. Would Would you be interested in a collaboration between India Irie, Meg Thee Stallion, and Janelle Monáe?
At the very least, it'd be entertaining to see what it looked like. At the very least.
Here is something that I did think about it. It might be a reach. What if this is something that was orchestrated by them to bring attention to their music?
There's always that. Usually it doesn't work out like that, but usually these things are these are spontaneous, and I believe that India was sincere when she said what she said. But stranger things have happened.
I don't know. I appreciate her saying what she said. I really do. But you gotta be ready for that. You know what I'm saying? You're an old head smoke. That you're gonna get that old head smoke. Like you just mad because you ain't on stage, and you know what I'm saying? You just mad because you ain't showing off nothing. You just mad because you know what I'm saying, you're not it no more. You know,
and like I told you before, I'm 53. I ain't trying to show off nothing.
You know what this
is a young folks game.
You know what? To be honest with you, I work out a lot. I'm not embarrassing my body or anything. I don't think I would look too shabby. I'm not really into that either, though, bro. I'm really not. I'm not really into showing off my body and doing all that. You know what I mean? But I know that's what gets the likes. That's what gets the viewership. That's what's going to get people, cashing in. That's just sad, though, bro, because we know that if you just shut up and dribble, it's the same thing with sports. You're more likely, am I wrong? You're more likely to get more money. That's why they say Michael Jordan was so successful. Because
that's why Michael Jordan was so successful. But before you go there, I want to make sure we clarify something. MJ wasn't trying to mess up his money. He was establishing a brand, because back then you only made $2 million a year. You didn't make $42 million a year. So no, he wasn't going to mess up his money, nor should he have. And just so we're clear, because I did watch that. What was that Showtime special that LeBron does, More Than an Athlete, where he went after Jordan for not being more active in terms of social justice issues of the 90s.
I disagree with that stance, by the way. Go ahead, though.
But I always say, first of all, LeBron, you need to thank Michael Jordan for affording you the lifestyle that you have, because now you can get hundreds of millions of dollars in a sneaker contract from Nike for some sneakers that ain't nobody wearing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't disrespect to LeBron, but when's the last time you heard somebody talk about, yo, man, I got to cop the new LeBron shit?
Bro, the only time I'm thinking about I have a pair. They're in my trunk. The only time I wear my LeBrons is when I'm hooping, bro. That's the only time. I am not trying to rock them. Like, Jordan was a genius, bro. Or I should say his mom, because I think she broke it.
And his mom, because his mom was extremely instrumental. In fact, I don't want to give Hollywood free advertisement, so I'm not going to put that out. But you know what I am going to do? You do know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go.
We talking about the movie Air?
Yeah, the movie Air.
I heard it was good. It gives a black woman her props. It gives her recognition. But what I'm saying is, that shoe is so universal. Even though I don't agree with the universality of it. I don't know if that's a word or not. You can wear it with a tux. Kids wear them with a tux. Those patent leather ones, they wear them with tuxes to their formals. You can wear them as casual shoes. You can wear them to hoop in.
Well, I remember the first 13 when they came out. I don't even wear them stuffs. So and Nike wasn't. People got to remember, Nike was a runner shoe before Jordan.
Phil Knight.
Yep, they were a runner shoe. They weren't even in a position to snag a prime MK Ultra athlete before Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan made these dudes, man. I'm just talking
MK Ultra. Based on my research, what was told to me, the shoe that was on top back in the day was Adidas, and that was because
Converse,
and that was because some other black men made those shoes big. Mm-hmm. It was Adidas. It was Run DMC. Adidas. So
now I gotta bump that.
Which brings me to the point, and we can wrap it up and go to the plan of action. And I've added what's your homework. My point of India Irie, man, they always need us to commodify something and sell it. Use it to your advantage. And I think it becomes very, very, very potentially problematic if you try to imply that people like Megan Thee Stallion aren't intelligent, aren't for the culture, aren't for the community because they twerk and show off your body. It's a potentially problematic, implication.
And divisive.
It's very, yes, man, because that woman has a college degree, and she's shown that she can be pro community. She can be pro black. She can be pro woman. You might not like the way she does it, but that's what
I haven't seen any evidence of. I haven't seen any evidence. I'm not gonna say she's not, but I have not seen evidence.
Let me give you the low hanging fruit, which you might not agree with. That's how she got caught up with that Tory Lanez thing, because she said we as black people do not need to be telling on other black men. So when the police came and showed up, I knew he shot me, but I said, I have no idea. Because why would I set a black man up like that when the police come, when I know black men are getting shot, saying this black man here shot me? Oh, he shot me? Oh, let's go kill this, you know what I'm saying? So I felt her on that. And she felt betrayed by Tory. And I get that. You know what I mean? He proceeds to do this mixtape where he makes a mockery of her getting shot, talking about I didn't do it, which was it was a pretty good mixtape too, by the way. It wasn't a mixtape.
Wow.
It was an actual album. No, it's good though.
Wow.
It's good.
And people wonder why I stopped messing with hip hop.
It was good. Well, look, and this is another episode that we need to have, okay?
Okay.
What happened with Janelle Monáe, Megan Thee Stallion, and Irie is something that happened with NWA. Now, I know we're going to get into this big argument. I don't want to go there with you.
You put it out there.
Wait.
You kind of set the stage.
I, according to me, I think NWA is the best rap group ever. Best hip hop group ever. Now, listen. Now, they have the influence.
No, not best.
Yeah. But Eazy-E was the freaking man. Eazy-E was the man. He put the whole group together. He was the venture capitalist. He made sure they got invited to the White House. F the police was big. Just that they were making, they put quote unquote gangster rap on the scene. They were revolutionary in that sense. But on the other end, they were talking about killing their own people. I can't listen to NWA without cringing, talking about, and I'm like, man, I got to turn this off. They're talking about pedophilia. They're talking about sexual assault. They're talking about rape. Oh my God, it's so bad. Wayman.
No, trust man.
It's so bad.
I listened to the same music that you did.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Just don't bite it. She swallowed it.
Oh God. Like, one less, bitch I gotta worry about. I'm like, what the?
It's so bad, bro. It's so bad. They were to our communities what police were to them. They were to our communities what police were to them. It's very, very, very valid to say that was COINTELPRO rap.
I gotta agree with you on that one.
That was the soundtrack to self-destruction, man.
Mm. And notice all that came about after a certain somebody left.
Yeah.
Those particular.
Oh, no. He was a part of that stuff too.
No, I'm talking about, okay. I'm sorry. No disrespect, but there's some distance between I ain't the one and a bitch is a bitch to and she swallowed it and one less bitch I gotta worry about. There's some distance between that. And I'm not saying that the other stuff was cool at all. Because if you listen to A Bitch is a Bitch, and you listen to I Ain't the One, not exactly a flattering picture. But you go all the way to the other extreme, talking about she swallowed it and one less bitch, killing all black women.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you. Now, that's one way to look at it. The other way I look at it is Ice Cube did it even when he left. Even when he left NWA, he was still on that. He was saying some pretty cringy stuff, bro. He was saying some pretty cringy stuff on Death Certificate, bro.
On Death Certificate, let's see. What did he say about black women that was as
Oh my God, giving up the nappy dugout?
Okay, yeah. Oh, yep. Your daughter was a nice girl. Now she's, okay. Yep.
However, that song is cringeworthy because that's talking about pedophilia too.
Yep. That's cringeworthy as fuck. I'm sorry.
But listen, the album, this is the reason why I say it's the best album ever. I know we can have no argument about that. That was the death side of the album.
Yep. And they was talking about everything negative. It was doing it for a reason. I know, trust me.
And then the other side,
the right side was everything conscious. And I get that, but I have to give Ice Cube the same smoke that I give to Tupac. Because I don't think that you can be conscious and a thug at the same time. I'm sorry, it's just for me. And a lot of that, if I'm being honest, goes to my own personal issues that I have with the hood. Because I'm a black nerd, and the hood brothers made my life a living hell. It's hard to reconcile that.
Yeah, I understand.
But I have to always remind myself we have to find a way to work together.
And that's a great segue into, based on everything we talked about today. And I know we were saying that we wanted to get to LeVar Ball, but we're not going to be able to get to that. But what's the plan of action based on everything we talked about today? As people walk away, what's the plan of action? And also give them some homework too.
The plan of action: work with black people with whom you would initially have a problem with. Find a way to build a bridge, a line of communication with groups or segments of the black community that you don't necessarily like. If you have streaks of homophobia in you, find a way to work with the black LGBTQIA. If you have a problem with the hood, find a way to do that. If you have a problem with black nerds, find a way to work with black nerds. If you have some type of issue with a segment of the black community, find a way to figure out how to collaborate and make what you do and they do work together. I say this, and real quick, and I say this because regardless of how you feel about them personally, and me and a certain somebody argue about this all the time, but I say when they come after us, and they will, they are not going to differentiate and say, oh, well, he speaks English really well. Maybe we can use him. Let's keep him alive. Or, you know what? We can make money off her twerking. Let's keep that booty working. Did I make just rhyme? Oh, God. Did I just? Oh, God. Anyway. But the point I'm making is that they will not differentiate. They will come after all of us.
Right. I'm going to do something I've never done on C Talk before. I'm going to go ahead and just defer to you. I don't have a plan of action. My plan of action and my homework is my intelligent brothers right there. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about saying that, but I'll take what you just that was powerful, man. That was good. That was dope. That was real good.
Thank you. We have to remember that we are, and again, that same friend whom I have differences with occasionally reminds me of my own credo, and that is that we are at war.
Yeah.
We are at war.
Right.
So we have to find ways to work with segments of our community, even if we have differences with them.
Right. Right. That's C Talk, man. Stuff to make your C's walk. Remember, Cash App, $sign Logic Amen, Venmo at Logic Amen. So join us next time. Make sure that you share this video, like it. Wayman, you want to tell them how they can get in contact with you or anything, what you got going on?
Go ahead and check out Blackie Livewire on YouTube. Shout out to Miss Livewire 007. We're gonna be getting Blackie Livewire back up and running again. So look for us. Also look for our content on Facebook. We will also be establishing our Instagram as well as our Patreon for unedited content. Hey, everybody, I hope you guys.
I'm glad y'all starting that back up, man, because y'all reaction videos were dope, bro. And you know, I'm not really into the whole comic book universe and all that, the Afro-futuristic. I mean, I'm not really into it, but you are. But you made me even more interested into it. You know what I'm saying? So it's really dope. It's Seed Talk, stuff to make your seeds walk. We'll see you next.